Gains: Tom Opacic, Josh McGuire, Broncos; Nene McDonald, Dragons; Coote Baptiste, Roosters; Losses: Johnathan, Thurston, Antonio Winterstein, retired; Lachlan, Coote, St Helens; Kane, Linnett, Hull KI, Shaun, Fensom, Broncos; Ben, Barba. Sacked. Last year, 13th, 8 wins, 16 losses. In short, McGuire is a strong addition through the middle and, along with Jason Taumlolo, gives them formidable presence against any side. But with the Thurston era now over, Michael Morgan must not only fire but remain fit if they are a chance to play in the finals. What could possibly go wrong? After his acting debut in the NRL promo, Taumlolo finds he enjoys acting so much he heads off to play Bouncer 3 in a string of straight-to-streaming action flicks. Gains: Tyrone Peachey, Panthers; Shannon Boyd, Raiders; Tyrone Roberts, Warrington; Jesse Arthurs, Rabbitohs; Riley Jacks, Storm; Brian Kelly, Sea Eagles; Losses: Brenton Lawrence, Ryan Simpkins, retired; Kane Elgie, Brendan Elliott, Sea Eagles; Conrad Harrell, Leeds. Last year, 14th, 8 wins, 16 losses. In short, some good signings make this a far more robust roster for coach Garth Brennan. Should AJ Brimson continue his rapid rise and Ash Taylor become a true general, they are a genuine shot at the 8. Tyrone Peachey might not regret his decision after all. What could possibly go wrong? It's a football team based on the Gold Coast. Use your imagination. Brisbane Broncos. Gains: Shaun O'Sullivan, Roosters; Shaun Fensom, Cowboys; Losses: Corbin Sims, Jonas Pearson, Dragons; Tom Opacic, Josh McGuire, Cowboys; Marion Sev, Storm; Corey Allen, Rabbitohs; Sam Tide, retired. Last year's finished 6th, 15 wins, 9 losses. In short, Anthony Seibold arrives at Red Hill, eventually, with a clean slate in a talented young squad. No doubt they are good enough to be in the finals, but his challenge will be to lift them to a level that can challenge hardened outfits like the Roosters. Big watch. What could possibly go wrong? Brisbane make it to another grand final, only to lose to Souths. Wayne Bennett smiles. Gains: Tim Glasby, Storm; Jesse Ramian, Edric Lee, Sharks; Mason Lino, James Gabbett, Warriors; David Clemmer, Zach Wolford, Bulldogs; Hymel Hunt, Rabbitohs; Kurt Mann, Dragons; Losses: Jack Cogger, Nick Meaney, Bulldogs; Brock Lamb, Roosters; Ken Seo, Salford; JJ Felice, Raiders; Corey Dennis, Rabbitohs; Luke Yates, London; Dylan Fithian, Burleigh; Pat Mattickshire, Wests; Newcastle; Chris Hyington, Jacob Lillyman, retired. Last year's finish, 11th, 9 wins, 15 losses. In short, another non-finals club to add some solid stock in the off-season. The Knights look every bit a side on the rise, with Kalyn Ponga bursting to put together a dominant season in a key position. David Clemmer should be a superb signing in the forwards. What could possibly go wrong? Ponga decides to make good on his dreams of one day becoming an All Black. That day's the day before the NRL season starts. Wonderkind. Newcastle hope Kalyn Ponga can bring them to life in 2019. Credit. Artmanley. Sea Eagles. Loading. Gains: Kane Elgie, Brendan Elliott, Titans; Corey Waddell, Panthers; Ruben Garrick, Dragons; Losses: Kuia Uate, Huddersfield; Shaun Lane, Eels; Tom Wright, Rugby Union; Brian Kelly, Titans; Johnathan Wright, Lewis Brown, retired. Last year's finish, 15th, 7 wins, 17 losses. In short, with Des Hasler back at his spiritual home, Manly should at least see some improvement from a difficult 2018 campaign. But without any top-shelf additions, Hasler must work his mad magic with a similar squad. Might be slow going. What could possibly go wrong? Daly Cherry Evans does his back-end while he unloads Hasler's backyard furniture before training. Gains: Junior Paulo, Raiders; Blake Ferguson, Roosters; Shaun Lane, Sea Eagles; Micah Sevo, Panthers; Losses: Suaria Matagi, Huddersfield; Corey Norman, Dragons; Cameron King, Featherstone; Nathan Davis, Isaiah Vav, Tony Williams; Jared Hayne, released. Bo Scott Kirisamorva, retired, last year's finished 16th, 6 wins, 18 losses. In short, Corey Norman departs but Blake Ferguson arrives, so at least the sets should start on a decent note. Brad Arthur needs a promising season from the Wooden Spooners to alleviate the immense pressure building out west. His job may depend on it. New stadium might be helpful. What could possibly go wrong? Spooked by another poor season, the club rules out ever hiring another coach with 2 first names, crushing the dreams of Michael Gordon, Nick Kenny, Matt Scott, James Graham and Shane Rodney, among many others. Blue and gold, can Blake Ferguson help lift the Eels off the bottom? Credit. Parramatta Eels Canberra Riders loading gains, Ryan Sutton, Wigan, John Bateman, Wigan, JJ Collins, Knights, Chance Nickel Clockstad, New Zealand Warriors, losses, Shannon Boyd, Titans, Junior Paulo, Eels, Blake Austin, Warrington, Charlie Gubb, Widnes, Craig Garvey, released, Mikaele Ravalawa, Dragons, Liam Knight, Rabbitohs, last year's finish 10th, 10 wins, 14 losses. In short, at their best, they can have patches where they can go toe-to-toe with the better sides in the competition. Sadly for the Raiders, forecasting when that is going to happen is rarely a simple task. Will that change this season? What could possibly go wrong? Ricky Stewart skipping his anger management classes and the club's contents insurance lapsing proves to be a costly combination. Canterbury Bulldogs loading gains, Dylan Napa, Roosters, Jack Cogger, Knights, Nick Meaney, Knights, Sowers Osu, Tigers, Corey Harawira Naira, Panthers, Christian Crichton, Panthers, Chris Smith, Roosters, losses, David Clemmer, Knights, Moses Mbye, Josh Morris, Sharks, Brett Morris, Roosters, Greg Eastwood, Matt Frawley, Huddersfield. Zach Wolford, Knights, last year's finish 12th, 8 wins, 16 losses. In short, the Dogs showed signs of improvement late last year and have some young players, like Reece Martin and Lachlan Lewis, ready to take the next step. Finals would be a surprise, though, and the departure of Clemmer looks damaging. What could possibly go wrong? Wally Lewis, the uncle of Lachlan, commands his nephew to pick a side and return to Queensland. He has that sort of power. Cronulla Sharks gains, Shaun Johnson, Warriors, Josh Morris, Bulldogs, losses, Jesse Ramian, Knights, James Rumenos, Bulldogs, Trent Hodkinson, Manly, Edric Lee, Newcastle, Luke Lewis, retired, Joseph Paulo, St Helens, Ricky Lutiel, Toronto, last year's finish, 4th, 16 wins, 8 losses. In short, another team that starts the season after some turmoil, with coach Shane Flanagan banished by the NRL and the club heavily penalised for salary cap breaches. But they do get arguably the biggest signing of the year in Shaun Johnson. Should be around in the finals again. What could possibly go wrong? Like an AFL footballer in Queensland, Johnson finds himself horribly homesick and returns to NZ for humanitarian reasons. Not so fresh start, Shaun Johnson has found a new home in the Shire, but he couldn't have predicted the pre-season troubles that have hit the Sharks. Credit. John Veach New Zealand Warriors gains, Lisa Narmau, Dragons, Tane Mill, Trial, Adam Kieran, Penrith, Lachlan Burt, Bulldogs, losses, Shaun Johnson, Sharks, Arta Hingano, Raiders, Albert Vete, Storm, Anthony Gelling, Widnes, Simon Mannering, retired, Zach Santo, released, Mason Lino, Knights, James Gavitt, Knights, last year's finish 8th, 15 wins, 9 losses. In short, the Warriors snuck into the finals last season but face an enormous test of depth to try and replace Shaun Johnson and the retired Simon Mannering. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, the Dally M winner, was smouldering last year. He will need to even more influential now. What could possibly go wrong? RTS goes Mia, Melbourne Storm gains, Tom Eisenhuth, Penrith, Marion Sev, Brisbane, Albert Vete, Warriors, losses, Young Tanamipi, Religious Mission, Tim Glasby, Knights, Ryan Hoffman, retired, Billy Slater, retired, Louis Garrity, released, Lachlan Tim, Dragons, Riley Jacks, Titans, last year's finish. Second, 16 wins, 8 losses. In short, after yet another grand final appearance, the Storm lose the wondrous Billy Slater to retirement, putting even more pressure on the ageless Cameron Smith as he plays his 127th season in the top grade. They could be tested. What could possibly go wrong? Smith retires early to exclusively focus his energies of making the Tokyo 2020 AFL ex-Olympic team. Lone burden, a lot rides on Melbourne Storm captain Cameron Smith in the absence of Billy Slater. Credit: Justin McManus. Penrith Panthers. Loading gains, Tim Grant, Tigers, Haim Sele, Dragons, Tyrrell Fumaono, Rabbitohs, Malachi Wadene-Zelezniak, Tigers. Losses, Tyrone Peachy, Titans, Tim Brown, retired, Christian Crichton, Bulldogs, Peter Wallace, retired, Oliver Clark, Tigers, Tom Eisenhuth, Storm, Corey Harawira, Naira, Bulldogs, Sonny Luke, Corey Waddell, Sea Eagles, Trent Merrin, Leeds. Last year's finish, 5th, 15 wins, 9 losses. In short, like a few other clubs, the off-season has been a disaster, with the video-sharing scandal a source of constant turmoil. Should they rise above, though, new coach Ivan Cleary has every chance of guiding them to a top 4 finish. Need to cut out the slow starts of 2018. What could possibly go wrong? It turns out the 5-year plan resets at the end of every 5 years. Gains, Corey Allen, Broncos, Kurt Dillon, Sharks, Bailey Siranen, Tigers, Matt McKillrick, Tigers, Liam Knight, Raiders, Corey Dennis, Knights. Losses, Angus Crichton, Roosters, Jason Clark, Warrington, Richie Kenner, Broncos, Hymel Hunt, Knights, Zane Musgrove, Tigers. Last year's finish, 3rd, 16 wins, 8 losses. In short, after a strong 2018, there's a huge watch on Souths as Wayne Bennett takes the helm. He must prove he still has what it takes to coach at the top level and needs a fit Greg Inglis and Adam Reynolds on his side. Good enough on paper. What could possibly go wrong? It turns out Wayne Bennett loves the Sydney media so much he quits halfway through the season to join their ranks. Loves the press box pies. All in his stride. Bunnies coach Wayne Bennett has been there, done that. Credit: At West's Tigers. Gains, Zane Musgrove, Rabbitohs, Paul Momirovski, Roosters, Ryan Mattison, Roosters, Robert Jennings, Rabbitohs. Losses, JJ Collins, Raiders, Tim Grant, Panthers, Tui Moala-Lolahi, Leeds Rhinos, Matt McKillrick, Rabbitohs, Tane Milne, Warriors, Kevin Nakwama, St Helens, Sowers Osu, Bulldogs, Malachi Wadene-Zelezniak, Penrith Panthers. Last year's finish, 9th, 12 wins, 12 losses. In short, Michael McGuire returns to the NRL coaching ranks and should give the Tigers a hard edge to their entertaining style. They have every chance to improve after a 50-50 season in 2018. Need to progress from that fringe finals grey zone. What could possibly go wrong? Players get on the bus but a service outage sees it terminate in the bottom 4. Sydney Roosters. Gains, Angus Crichton, Souths, Brett Morris, Bulldogs, Ryan Hall, Leeds. Losses, Ryan Mattison, Tigers, Jaden Nico Rima, released, Blake Ferguson, Eels, Frank Paul Nuasala, retired, Paul Momirovski, Tigers, Aloni Vunakasi, retired, Mitch Cornish, retired, Shaun O'Sullivan, Broncos. Last year's finish, 1st, 16 wins, 8 losses. In short, oh look, the Premiers have signed Angus Crichton and Brett Morris. Isn't that terrific news? They needed all the help they could get. Suffice to say, the team to beat again, although Blake Ferguson is a fair loss. What could possibly go wrong? Having lost both of his arms during a particularly physical semi-final, Cooper Cronk grudgingly concedes he may have to sit out the decider. Or at least the second half. Wingman, Cooper Cronk again looms as a key to premiership success for the defending champs. Credit: AAPST George Illawarra Dragons gains, Corbin Sims Broncos, Mikaele Ravalawa Raiders, Jonas Pearson Broncos losses, Lisa Narmau Warriors, Jason Nightingale retired, Nene McDonald Cowboys, Kurt Mann Knights, last year's finish, 7th, 15 wins, 9 losses. In short, the Dragons made it to the second week of the finals in 2018 despite a bad drop in form in the second half of the season. There's no reason they can't progress this season, but the likely loss of Jack de Belin leaves a damaging vacancy in the middle of the park. What could possibly go wrong? Follow the de Belin court proceedings, and you will likely have your answer. Phil Lutton, sports reporter.